Okay, so Ed, I have one more question for you. For the past 12 years that you have been here in Atlanta, what type of changes have you seen in terms of diversity in economics and in demographics?
Um, to answer that question, you first have to realize that Atlanta is an extraordinarily unique city, primarily because this is the city of Dr. King. And coming here, this is the first time, DC to some degree, but Atlanta, there is a very, very strong African American middle class professional community here that has been here forever that Dr. King was able to tap into. That was part of the Sweet Auburn Avenue piece. It was that community that actually spread out. Let me tell you a little story about Atlanta. Most people didn't realize that the West End of Atlanta was really the hub of Atlanta, because that was where all of Atlanta is on a major train route for moving goods.
Yes.
That came into the airport. Now is a hub, but before that it was actually all of the trains. All of the growth was actually in West Atlanta, and so and that's where a lot of the African Americans who grew up. That's where Morehouse, all of that sort of grew up in that area. Sweet Auburn sort of spanned it out. Over the years, what I've seen, and which I think is phenomenal, is a planned transition of what I consider the, and I use this word with tremendous amount of reverence, the old guard changing or turning over the reins to the future here. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Ambassador Young.
Yes.
So you have this lineage of Maynard, who was the first African American mayor here, Andrew Young, Shirley Franklin, okay, and now you have Kasim Reed. Kasim was actually mentored by Franklin was mentored by Andrew Young.
Got it.
Kasim has been mentored by Franklin and was well known in the community here. Went to Howard University, undergrad and to law school. Came back here, took on the reins of worked for one of the major law firms here. Could still stay connected into the politics here. Who's now mayor? They've done a fabulous job of not only continuing a legacy of African American leadership here, but very talented African American leadership. Mayor Franklin was voted one of the best mayors in the country during her tenure. Kasim is carrying on that. He's balanced the budgets here. He's doing some very phenomenal things. So Atlanta is a very, very special town from that perspective. The other thing I've seen over the 12 years here is that, and this goes back to Maynard's legacy, access to capital here for African American small business owners who actually want to go into business. Started with the airport. Atlanta is one of the more friendly towns in getting access to people who can provide assistance and getting access to capital and access to resources. So from that perspective, I think Atlanta has a phenomenal history from a diversity perspective of not only creating. I talked a lot about African American leadership here, but when you take a look across the landscape here, it is African American leadership been in the mayoral office. But when you take a look at the other, take a look at Fulton County and the counties around that, this is still a town where, in order for this region to work, it's important for everyone to work. So Atlanta has a strong history of attracting in large, diverse groups of professionals. The medical field because of Emory. You got Georgia Tech, and because of technology, it's brought in a lot of younger professionals. Qualis is kept. This is a college town.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And this is a college town if you're here for that. So it's really a town that has positioned itself for growth, and still has a lot of challenges. The challenges with the public school systems here. There's still a challenge of with every urban city of getting those who may not be as well positioned socioeconomically to continue to move. But over the 12 years that I've been here, I've seen this evolution of African American and people of color leadership continuing to rise to the top here and partner with those that are part of the broader community here. And I'll close on this, the one thing when I was considering coming to Atlanta, the one thing that a few of my friends, I won't say all, but a few of my friends, aside from loving Atlanta, they said, let me tell you one thing about Atlanta. He said, there's only one problem with Atlanta. And I said, what's that? He said, it's surrounded by Georgia. and so if you do the blue-red thing, that's actually true. And when you go to Austin, you'll also find that Austin is very similar.
Oh yeah.
And Austin is the only blue place
in a red
state.
Absolutely.
And Atlanta, for a lot of reasons, in particular politics on a national level and who our politicians represent us and all of those good things, you'll find that they have that dichotomy. But the beauty of it, unlike Congress and the Senate here, there's an effort at the state level to work together, and that's important in any state. And Atlanta, I think, really typifies that.
Awesome. Well, Ed, I would like to thank you so much for allowing us to come into your home, for my coffee. I broke Lint again. I'm getting back on track. But thank you for welcoming us into your home and sitting down and chatting with us and being a nice stop on our road to South by Southwest.
You're welcome.
Okay, see you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.